return of workers who are risking their lives there. Uh, it is said by people that the United States could end this genocide with a phone call. But actually, it's not just Palestine that is occupied by Israel, but it looks like the United States is also occupied by Israel because it is so helpless in the face of this massacre. मतलब लोग कहते हैं कि अगर अमेरिका चाहती है तो एक फोन कॉल में ये जेनोसाइड रोक सकती है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है क्योंकि सिर्फ पैलेस्टाइन इजरायली ऑक्यूपेशन में नहीं है, अमेरिका भी इजराइल से ऑक्यूपाइड है। अगर आप देखेंगे तो the universities of America, there are tens of thousands of students who came out in protest against the universities that are little city-states, little empires who are investing in this genocide in Palestine. It's hard to think of a more immoral thing than a university doing that. But students in America can protest about their own government because they are allowed free speech, but they cannot protest about Israel. When they protest about Israel, the students and the teachers are beaten, are arrested, are attacked by policemen on horses. So in America, you can protest about America, but you cannot protest about Israel. So this is what happens when you become complicit in an essentially immoral project. You begin to lose your center. You begin to lose your understanding of what you are doing. And therefore, we have to, as a people, at least show that we do not support that murder in Gaza. We do not support our government's support of that. Um, what is happening in Gaza? It is not just the murder of common citizens. It's not just the murder of tens of thousands of women and children. It is the bombing of hospitals, the destruction of universities, the destruction of archives, the attempt to erase the very memory that people have of that place. It is a genocide like no other because it's taking place on live TV. And it is a genocide where not since the Second World War have so many journalists been killed. 160 journalists have been killed because they do not wish the news to be reported. It is a great shame that in our country, the news from Gaza is not reported. It's not reported. It's not on the front pages of our papers. It's not on our television channels. It's a really terrible shame. As many have said, India used to be a country that supported the people of Palestine in their struggle for freedom. I was in Beirut. I was in Beirut just a few weeks ago. Beirut is just a few hours' drive from Gaza. You can smell the rage and the blood and the anger and the dust and the hatred on the breeze now in Beirut. I was speaking at a big university, and another speaker who was speaking with me was a Palestinian surgeon. His name was Dr. Ghassan Abu Sita. Please look him up. He flew to Gaza. He practices in London. He's a trauma surgeon. And he flew to Gaza on October 8th because he knew what was going to happen there. And he spoke, I mean, just imagine this. He spoke about how many amputations he had done on children without anesthesia. Can you try and imagine that? Cutting off a child's arm or leg without anesthesia. This is what is going on there. His wife, who's Palestinian, told me about how her 70-year-old father, who was a farmer in Gaza, had all his old olive trees were burnt, all his animals were killed. He was arrested. He was attacked by dogs in the internment camp, 70-year-old man. Now, this is the level of what is happening in that place. And all of it is known. All of it is known. And everywhere, even in the US, whether it's in the US, whether it's in England, whether it's in Spain, whether it's in Ireland, whether it's in France, everywhere the people are standing up against the government support for Palestine. But we are not standing up against our government support. This is such a shame. I was in Beirut, I went to the refugee camps, the Palestinian refugee camps. From 1948 onwards, there have been refugees in Lebanon. So I met an old Palestinian man there, and he met me with so much love because I was an Indian. And he told me, I've been to India, and the people of India love us. And I didn't know what to say. He said, I traveled all over India, and the poorest people used to collect money for us. So I said, the Indian government doesn't support you now. He said, no, the government doesn't support us, but the people support us. I didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to say. So I want to reply to him with us all out on the street saying no. When people wave the Palestinian flag, they are arrested here. But on October 8th, how many people put up the Israeli flag as their WhatsApp profile? That's allowed. You can walk down the road with an Israeli flag. You can walk down the road justifying genocide. You can use that genocide to support what you hope could turn into a genocide here. That's all fine. But you cannot stand up for the right thing in this country. But times have changed and we must stand up. We must refuse. This is such a wonderful initiative to just say that we will not support the export of weapons or any kind of aid or the export of Indian workers to replace Palestinians in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. I think we have concluded our spirit and our thoughts